Hey, entrepreneurs, it's time to get fired up. Back here on the MVP Cast, How to Become More podcast, where we get you fired up so that you can become more of the MVP in your life and your business. I'm your host, Josh Ruiz, alongside my co-host, Francois. And today's week, the sponsored segment is tomorrow's live. I'm going to be doing on identity theft protection, okay? Now, I want to encourage you all to check this out. This is an important topic that I don't think people cover too much because all of our identities are at risk at some point or another. And there are very, very inexpensive programs out there that can protect you from that and give you alerts in real time to make sure that you're protected for yourself, your family, and your future, okay? Also, I'm going to be doing a hashtag word on there if you join me live. And for those who are able to do that, I have a special gift for you, so don't miss out on that. This week, our special guest is Brittany Murphy from One Thing Marketing. Brittany, thanks for joining us and welcome to the show.
Thank you both for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
absolutely. My pleasure to have you. Cool. Excellent. So let's get started after this great introduction. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, identity theft, you don't know about it until it bites you. But if it does, it hurts. And so having some free information from Josh is going to be fantastic. I invite you to attend. All right. So, hey, Brittany, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself professionally and what brings you to the entrepreneurial world?
Definitely. So I am the marketing director at One Thing Marketing, and I had just hit my 8-year anniversary actually last month. So it's a very kind of exciting place to be professionally. I think the joke is no millennials stay at jobs this long anymore. Am I right?
That's true. Hey, but congratulations, 8 years. That's good.
Thank you. Yeah. So I actually started with the owner of the company. We really just kind of built this up. He previously had a business beforehand where he hired a website designer and a marketing specialist to help him with his prior business, and basically got completely screwed over. And so had to learn how to build a website himself, how to do all these things, and ended up loving it. So basically I was the kind of first person to jump on board with him to really try and speak this out into the market as much as possible. So very much so a brand new business, started 10 years ago. We are very full-fledged and we have clients all over the US today, which is super exciting to really watch a business go from nothing to, quite a few clients in different states where my accent is noticed by everybody now because they're all not from Louisville.
Actually, thanks for sharing. And you stated something that is maybe it passed undetected from people who says he got screwed over a lot and he had to start over. Every entrepreneur goes through that gauntlet, all of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so a word of advice to everybody listening to this, if it didn't happen to you, it will happen. And then get back up, dust yourself off and go for it. Because if you stop, then you lose. If you don't stop, you continue. And it happens to all of us. So I appreciate it. And then you said, we have clients all over now. And people say, oh, it's overnight success sensation, like Messi, the soccer player. He says, yeah, it was an overnight sensation after 15 years of sweat and blood to make it happen. So definitely, that's awesome.
And the funny part is you don't have to pick up where you got screwed up. So, I mean, my boss chose to find out how to do this exact service for himself since he had one bad experience with it. So caveat there, you don't have to learn it yourself, but find an expert to really kind of pair yourself with. That's kind of like a word of wisdom I can tell everybody is, even if they just talk to me, talk to a few other marketers. There might be someone you hit it off better with. And I would rather you have that relationship than us struggle not really being on the same page the entire time. So it's huge to kind of build that. And that's what builds up an overnight success in my eyes.
Yeah. And that's a good point that you mentioned there, Brittany. I appreciate you mentioning that it's about the relationship, right? Because I mean, like what I do in insurance and, Francois' a coach and you're in marketing, there's a lot of people in those three spaces, right? But it's about having the person that gels and has that right fit for you, right? That makes the connection in sync and ultimately thrives in that success.
Definitely.
Awesome. So you work for the One Thing Marketing, right?
Yes.
You're kind of like the right hand there.
Yep.
Gotcha.
That would be me.
So do you feel like it's sort of your entrepreneur journey, like with this guy, even though it's like not quote unquote your business, but can you describe that a little bit?
Yeah. Well, I'm a partner now, so I guess I should clear that up. But yes, I mean, that's the entrepreneur journey. It was just the two of us for probably the first 2+ years or so. I mean, I managed all the sales, he managed all the service, and then I managed all the client side. I mean, our journey basically was, okay, we have to get all these things done, but we have to grow. So he knew that he needed someone. He's a very high introvert. I, for some weird reason, am an extrovert, as you can't tell just yet. So he needed a partner to basically pick up where his opportunity was, which was making those connections and getting out there and doing the networking. So that's kind of what initially this spot was supposed to be, is the sales, to get to know those people. So it was very fun of, because I was doing that, making the networking, making the connections locally, we were really able to kind of grow at a lot quicker pace versus one entrepreneur doing everything himself. So he was smart to he found some virtual assistants, and he found a salesperson to kind of help him hone in where he was not good at. And because he allowed me to jump in and do these things, I was able to talk to a lot of people, get a lot of networking done, hire new clients. So therefore, the first position we were able to basically have in place after me was the person that could handle all of the client communication afterwards. So now I didn't have to worry about the client after they were sold. I could go back out and sell more for us. And now we have basically 2 service and 1 sale. So ever since then, almost every year, we've gained 1 new employee, and it's mainly on the service side. I get stuck with being the only person on the sales. But that's just sometimes how it works out. I mean, if we're able to do a good job, we just have to fill in the spots where we need it. And that's kind of how our journey has been to grow with employees, and to make sure you're matching your money, is to, what is that next spot we need? And then how much we need to make internally to make that work. And it doesn't have to be they're totally paid for, but maybe they only need to be half paid for, because the rest of your time to be able to take off what you were previously doing and onto the things that matters, you're going to exponentially grow, and you're going to fill that time. They're going to get paid because you're able to focus on the right things. And I know that's really a lot of sales and business ownership, but it comes down to marketing when you think about it, is you need to spend your time on the things that are going to be most beneficial for you. So that was just a little bit, of our entrepreneur journey of, now we're a local team of 6, and we have even more part-time freelancers that work for us. So it's been a great journey. It's been a rough and long one, but it's very fun to kind of be on the side of it, to see where we are today, and look back at those times to see, okay, that was a struggle, but like Francois said, we got up, we picked ourselves up, and we tried the next task. So we kept moving forward, versus letting every negative action, every client that maybe didn't renew, just beat us down and feel like, this is never going to work. We should just give up with it.
Yeah. And I like what you said. One of the nuggets that you said right off the rip is that the guy that you're partnered with, is he saw, where he needed, some help and some accolades in the sales side. And he brought you in to be able to help him be able to grow his business. And that's one of the main points I want to point out to the audience. As an entrepreneur, you don't have to do this by yourself, right? We're not meant to thrive on our own. We're meant to collaborate and be in teams and unities and tribes, right? So find those people that can help you grow, and be willing to take that leap of courage and have somebody, like Brittany did with her journey, to help him grow. And now look at them, they're thriving. They got clients all over, and that's awesome. It's a great thing to hear. And I really just wanted to share that you got to be willing to bring people on and have a team.
Yeah. It's one of the biggest jumps I feel like most companies struggle with.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that you mentioned at first, the first thing he says is sales and service. Everybody, entrepreneur, listen loud and clear to what just been said. You need 2 legs to start walking, just not hopping on one. Business cards, office, websites, this and that. That's service. That's on the other side. But until there's people that are brought to there, nothing's happening. Sales is not a taboo word. Sales is what brings in money so you can serve more people. That's what sales is. It's money. And interestingly enough, you said it's not all paid for and we continue. If we think that we're going to be cash business when we start, this is not happening. And you need to reinvest the money you make for sales into the structure to continue. So the journey that you've mentioned is great. And you said, and every year or so, we added another one. Sales was good. Then we had service, then another service. And then you said, in 10 years, now we have 6 people. So ladies and gentlemen, there is a progression into this. And it needs to be taken into consideration. If you want to grow, you need more people. Otherwise, you burn out. And so, but step by step, sales brings the water to the mill, and then the mill can process anything from it. And so 2 legs, sales and service. I appreciate that. That is, it's essential. Sometimes we say, no. I just want to do this. I just want to do. Yeah, it's not going to work. You need to have someone else to help you out. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
So, what do you love about what you're doing, Brittany?
Oh, so I joke that I'm the only person in sales, but I'll be honest with you. I do feel lucky that I am the person that gets to be in sales. My background, nowhere close to sales. So it's very funny and ironic that 8 years later, I'm in the sales seat, basically the sales VP, whatever you want to call me when it comes to that. But what I do love about it is that I get to meet everybody one-on-one. I get to learn about their business. And that's kind of what helps me. And I think our business grow is I'm able to take all these tips that even I'm seeing from their businesses utilize and put it into our own. But I mean, really more the joy is when I actually do find someone we connect, I can clearly see what we need to do. I have the picture and they're on the same page as me as far as saying, I understand what your picture is. I think this is a great way we need to go down with it. Let's do it. The trust is there on both sides. And then when I get to talk to them after they finish the project or we're checking in differently, it is so nice to actually see that when they say things of, I was actually able to take a vacation. We had enough leads. We had this scheduled out. We started hiring team members to take care of this for us. And now we're actually being business owners versus just the grunts in our business doing all the work with it. So that's kind of, as you said, it's really fun to see how our company has grown, but it's even more fun to see that because what we're doing, we're changing and impacting these companies. Our bread and butter is a lot of like mom and pop shops. So it maybe could be a family business that's been passed down or it's under new ownership, but they're not huge corporations. So I know what we do actually makes a huge change because it's a little bit of a smaller to medium-sized business where all these things add up for them. It's not like any big company, they can just write out a check for $1 million. And if it doesn't work out, okay, we'll just write it off. There are not many businesses that have that. So it's great to be able to take someone's budget and actually say, okay, I'm going to turn this 20 into 200,000. Like that's our goals. And it's really fun. We actually accomplished it. And now they're like, okay, great. I'm ready for $500,000. You're like, okay, let's do the next step of it. But they're so excited just to keep going. And it's like, when you have that relationship and you have that trust, I think that's what's honestly the most beautiful part about what I do is because they're allowing us to take that burden off of them and do everything we know we do best. So that way they can focus on the business, grow whatever else they need to be doing with it. And now it's just a beautiful relationship because they know we're going to have their back no matter what they have going on. And we're able to flex with them because we want to adjust with how they're growing as well.
You said the key word. You said, we sit down together and I paint a clear picture. Clarity. That's one of the things I teach all the time. A confused mind takes no action. We don't. So all the listeners right now, if you're confused about the next step, that means you have no clarity. And we get stuck in our own heads. We need to have others to help us take it out, put it on paper and structure it. And until that happens, then it doesn't work. It works for a business coach. It works for a marketing coach. It works for any other organization to help us. We need to get it out of there. In our minds, it's all over the place. Someone else needs to structure it. And the clearer that picture is, the more momentum we can gain because we're taking action. Confused mind takes no action. If you're confused right now, seek help. Seek help from others. Others can help you. And then shop around. Interview many people. And then as you do that, and I love you said that, Brittany, it's a connection that you feel with them. But you have to go out and seek that connection. Mm-hmm. And once it clicks, then go for it. Awesome. I appreciate that.
And I also feel like fear is another reason people don't take action. So if you're scared to take the next step because you don't have clarity on what it is, then it's kind of, that big tip that all of us entrepreneurs tell each other, stop thinking you're in this alone. Find a resource, find an expert. Here I am saying that I'm our only salesperson, but my calendar is open for anyone to book out a free 30-minute strategy session, whether they use us or not. And there are so many businesses that do that. I'm not original with this idea. Almost every business will give you some type of free evaluation. So why would you not kind of reach out and see who you click with and who it makes sense? Now you're still moving, you're projecting yourself further without just staying stagnant because you don't know who to trust, you don't know what to do. And ultimately your business will fail if you choose to take no action at all.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that goes with investing in yourself, right? And a lot of people, like Francois said, you got to have 2 legs to walk. And it doesn't matter what you do, there's always a sales and a marketing component, right? And it's peanut butter and jelly. You don't want to eat jelly bread by itself, right? It wouldn't taste right. You got to have the peanut butter with it. And you need marketing with any sales organization.
Oh, no, you don't. Oh, no, you don't. You don't mix peanut butter. Oh, man, mixing it with jelly. No. I hate that. Peanut butter is the best and alone. And so case in point.
How about pizza?
2 people can have different. How about you, Lisa? What do you think?
Lisa?
Sorry, Brittany.
Come on, you're throwing us off here, Francois.
You're throwing us off, Francois. I was going to give you a caveat and say, what about a banana with peanut butter? That's an original staple that I grew up with. Peanut butter banana sandwiches. Francois, don't even talk about it till you try it.
This guy don't like
Actually,
mixing his
I
fruit.
tried, and I'm a very, how do you say, loyal guy.
You're a vanilla guy.
Yeah, very. And so when I did, and so, but all this, we're having fun right now. But you see, there's three people, and we see it three different ways, and no one is wrong.
Perspective.
No one's wrong.
Yeah.
It is food that we're taking and we're enjoying it. And that's an important point. We cannot judge others. Find out what it is that they're doing, and then maybe you can apply some of it. This applies to business as we're talking right now, even though we're having fun with peanut butter, jelly, and banana. That's okay, because that's what life is about. That's what growing your business is about, is finding out from others. And maybe someone says, with banana, well, maybe I should try it again. And then, it's good. And then maybe jelly. Wow, I didn't know. And so as I'm expanding my horizons, my awareness is increasing, and I can become better. And then when someone says, I like my peanut butter this way, yeah, I understand why. And so life is made to be lived.
Yes.
That's
It's
what
With
like
the
a
banana.
box of chocolates.
with banana.
With banana and a box of chocolates.
Oh,
Do you know what you're going to get?
You never know.
Yeah, you could have a chocolate truffle with peanut butter in it.
Oh.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, get off the subject. I haven't had lunch yet, guys. You're killing me over here.
All right. So let's go for another question. Josh, you're up for the next question.
Oh, so yeah, let's segue in. I love this conversation. Let's talk about. So you talked about some challenges. How about your MVP formula? Like, what is your kind of formula that you say is kind of translucent across business that has worked well for you and can work well for other entrepreneurs out there?
Yeah. I mean, I can relate this back to marketing, but honestly, what I feel like is it relates to all aspects of life. And it's the whole aspect of being consistent to build momentum. So whether that can be with a marketing campaign you're running, if you're running it for just 2 weeks, you're never going to know if that works. You have to be consistent. You have to keep going with it and making sure that you're actually tracking everything you're doing. So that's actually the end for me for success, would be to make sure you're tracking everything you do. So that way it's showing results, or it's showing value, or it's showing where you need to switch gears to. So if you haven't done anything consistently, and I'll be honest, my fiance has gone on me because I've not been the best with working out lately. And he's not wrong. As we had talked about earlier, I used to play volleyball 2-3 nights a week. COVID kind of ruined it. My adult leagues are not back up, the ones I wanted to be in. So I have a little home gym where I need to try to get my butt in there every day. Well, for me, I wasn't being consistent. So I would do really well, and then I would take off for a couple weeks. Just like how diet and exercise work, that's almost how anything in the business is going to work as well. So the way I was building a momentum, I was seeing it, but then I would slack off. So now my results were depleting because I'm not doing those things. So to me, it's any aspect you have, make sure you're doing it, pick a time frame and stick to that. So our business, we've tried to do a lot of million things, and we're the shoe cobbler's kid kind of effect has taken to us. We do websites, we do SEO. We have not touched our website or our own SEO for quite a bit. So here we were actually seeing sales go down a little bit because we stopped caring about us and making sure that we were putting ourselves up. And honestly, just practicing what we preach. We needed to do those things. So that's kind of where even this entire year, what we've been very designated is consistent of these are the 3 things we're going to focus on. We're going to hone these in the entire year. And by the time we get to Q4, we will know 100% what things to take into 23 with us and what things to leave in 2022, because we could track it. We know we did everything to see if this would work or not. And again, just like diet or exercise, if you were doing one diet, did it for 90 days and saw absolutely no results, maybe that diet wasn't the right one, but you did everything right. You were consistent. You now have the knowledge to prove it wasn't that diet, and you can switch versus making excuses, which I feel that's usually what it leads to. When we quit, we're not consistent. We make excuses. And I'm the person that kind of did this as well. Oh, well, this came up. Oh, well, this. You need to be consistent. And that's the only way to build momentum. Building that snowball up as it goes down a hill, it only builds as it keeps rolling. It will not get bigger if it stays stagnant.
That's right. That's right.
So,
we have to stay in motion.
Consistent. All of us are not consistent in some of the things that we do. That's why we need someone else to keep us accountable and consistent. That's why we need others. And so as they keep us accountable and consistent, then we build the momentum. And I like the fact that you said tracking results. I am not good at tracking results. My wife is. And she goes, look, oops, all right. And so, but without that, then we're not know exactly where we're going. So that's why we need others. And also, just for you, Brittany, whenever people hire a marketing agency, you cannot hire a marketing agency for 1 month, 30 days and says, oh, how come I'm not a millionaire yet? It doesn't work that way. And says, well, if it doesn't work that way, I don't want to participate. Well, grow up, because that's not the way it is. They need to gather data to find out what it is that works. And from the data, then if we say, I don't know, 50% of the things work, okay. So if you do only 5 things, that means that out of 5, all can fail. You need to do 100 to find out the 50. So if the stats work, then they work, because everything is stats. You need to give them the numbers. Without the numbers, it doesn't work. And that goes for coaching. That goes for insurance. That goes for your identity theft. It goes for everything. You need to throw yourself in there and get the numbers in. And then you'll have data. And it says, hey, when I do this, this is what happens. And when I don't do this, this is what happens. And so it's so important to know these things. And when we're entrepreneur, we sometimes have those tunnel vision. Mm-hmm. Oh, but it's not my coaching, or it's not my business of doing. Yes, it is. So someone else can help you do it. I hope this really makes sense. I'm trying to fire up the entrepreneurs that I know that at heart, they want to share things that they really believe in. And sometimes they're their own worst enemies because they try to do it all themselves. Stop doing it. Search out for help with others. And that's what will bring you to the next level.
Yeah. And don't forget how everything holistically works together. I mean, let's just go back to a personal example. You would expect your personal trainer to give you rock hard abs in only 30 days, knowing you're not going to do the diet regimen he gave you as well. Like, everything goes hand in hand. So, I mean, yes, even looking at the insurance for your business to make sure you're covered. I mean, having the things lined up and how they work together, like, that's when you know your business is going to grow and be even more successful, because you don't have the blinders on, just focusing about that one thing. Yeah. You're focusing on everything. You're making sure that everything is working together. So therefore you can focus on what the goal is, and that's kind of the funny part. I mean, with marketing, everything always kind of works in that area of it works together and making sure it all kind of comes together. But when it comes to that personal experience side, like, we do forget, we do kind of just hone in one avenue when we need to make sure that all avenues are actually working effectively to be able to track and determine which way to go with forward. But yeah.
I often says that success is not a picture. It's a puzzle. It's got different pieces, and some pieces are more important than others, but it's got pieces. Very important. So, Josh, what do you got for us now?
Yeah. So, segueing in, we always like to ask our guests what their favorite or what their superpower would be if they have one. And I know yours is super unique, and I love it. So, I'd love for you to share that and maybe tell us, where that came from, or why you came up with that.
Yes. So my superpower is if I could speak every language fluently would be the superpower I wish I could have. So I think it stung from, I actually had an awesome person that was able to help me really get out and see the world. And when you actually leave the country, you realize that it's a small box we live in, and you can kind of have that small town feeling. But actually, when you are able to experience other cultures, see other things, your world completely changes. And it positively affected mine. It was such a great thing I got to do. And so now kind of even how that relates is my fiance is Hungarian. Now he speaks fluent English. I speak awful Hungarian. So when I actually got to visit his family, I couldn't really have the personal connection I wanted to have after wanting to meet them for 2 years because of COVID. And so it's one of those things where you can connect with people. Like, all the barriers can finally be let down because you can have a true conversation with someone and then be on the same page. And, again, that's kind of where I laugh, because I'm not the hugest fan of texting because you can't tell tone. You can't tell personality at times. So it's always hard, especially from sales. I can't tell where the person's interest level is at when we just text or email. So I love to talk to people, and I want to make sure that, I joke that I do have a Southern accent. I would love to be able to speak with everyone so clearly that they feel heard, they feel understood, and they're so excited. And again, that trust builds because we're all salespeople in some way. So we're selling our personal brand. I'm selling myself to you. Obviously I'm selling one thing, marketing. I'm selling the amazing results that we get our clients, but your conversation begins with me. Everything begins with me. So if we can't create that trust in that relationship, then you're never going to come into experience the great results. So it's my job to make sure my brand's on point, my message is on point, and I understand the vision of who I'm talking to so I can relay that back to what I do and help them out the most that I can. So I know that's a lot of different things about why I wish I could speak every language, but it really is just having that communication with people so you can build those relationships. I mean, could you imagine if none of us could speak the same language and we couldn't even communicate? That would be scary.
Yeah. No, I love that. And, one thing you said, I wish, we do have the capacity to learn 40 languages fluently. I forget who referenced that, but there was a book I recently read, and they said that, if we were to put our minds to it, 40 languages, I think, is what they estimate the peak could be. Which I don't know. How many languages are there in the world? Do you all know?
I don't know.
But 40 be a lot. I know English is one of the most spoken languages next to Chinese. So, I mean, if you get a couple of those, I mean, Francois speaks a little bit of Italian, a little French, some English. So you got three. I've got English and half Spanish. You've got some Hungarian and English. So, I mean, we're all bilingual in here some way, right?
Yeah. And I just Googled it. 7,100 different languages is what the first result came up to. So we could probably find a good 40 out of that 7,000 if that really is true.
I felt like there's 150 or something.
Wow.
That's amazing. Yeah. And once again, you see, this is another thing that just happened. We were talking about a situation, and someone did some research and then shared the information, and then our mind was expanded. That's why we need others. That's exactly why. I was thinking 130, maybe around, I don't know. And boom, like so many. Wow. So it expands our mind. Being together is something that's really good. I appreciate that. That cool.
Is awesome. So Brittany, other than how awesome you are, and that's why people should go and check you guys out, is there a particular niche of business type that you guys focus in on? I know you mentioned mom and pops, but is there any industry or any specifics that you could share?
Yeah, I actually appreciate you asking, because I feel like that's a huge business change we've made in the last 3 to 4 years. And luckily we started to make this transition before COVID hit. And it really just kind of set us up more for success because we did decide to niche down. So over the past 10, 11 years we've been open, we've helped anyone who had an issue, who had a previous experience like us. They didn't trust their website designer. They're not getting enough leads. They're not getting reviews, all those types of issues. But what we actually found out when we looked at, back again, tracking results, kind of looking at what we're doing, we noticed that 75% of our clients were in the home trade services. Your roofers, plumbers, electrician, paving, all these guys were who we were already really working a lot with. And so we kind of decided, just as a smarter business decision, well, if this is where the biggest impact we have right now, why don't we decide to not just, open our doors to everybody, but really hone in to make sure we're the biggest, baddest expert when it comes to these guys and what they need. So it's really kind of where we niche down to, and again, kind of as you mentioned, even insurance and identity theft. We're focusing on reactive services. So you might not proactively think, I need to get my roof inspected. But when you see a leak or anything dripping from the ceiling, you are calling someone immediately. And so those industries that really got majority of their leads from people seeing a problem and then calling to get it fixed, that was really where we wanted to hone in as much as we could help as possible. And my little quick backstory as to why I'm so excited we've gone down this path is I actually was born and raised in a trades construction family. So my dad was actually a pipe fitter for over 30 years. He worked for Kentucky Sprinkler. When I was a kid, my grandma would take me to different malls he worked at if he was there, so I could see him on, a 4-story high structure that he's standing on with just teeny tiny little rope. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Can Dad come down now? So it was really kind of cool to see him in his element. But what makes me passionate about it is half our household income was based on if he was working or not. Both my parents worked, had great jobs. But my mom had a steady white collar job. My dad had a blue collar job. Now, if his company was doing good, well, he was busy, he was working, the paychecks were coming in. It was great. We were doing really well to get into middle class and do even better than my parents, thought they would do. When things turned, if he wasn't getting business, if the calls were not coming in for that company, if there wasn't new construction, if there wasn't any problems where fires had happened and they need a sprinkler company to come in and readjust everything, we didn't have the work. My dad was not as busy. He did not have anything to go pull out and bring new income. So we really understood as a family, we kind of live and breathe by how much he was able to get work and go more into trades and kind of work into different businesses. So what I love is that's the type of families I'm also working with. It might be a husband and a wife team that are doing this. So I understand they want to grow to a level to feel comfortable to know that they can pay for their kids to go to that school, or they know the fridge is always going to be filled with food and it's healthy food because they are, doing well and they're making the money kind of come in. So that's just a little personal touch as far as why I love it and why it means so much. So that's kind of where, one of my tips is just to be transparent with everything you do. So it's kind of where I tell people what the story looks like. And I also tell them, if I don't think it's going to help you, then I'm not even going to want to sell you, because I don't want you spending 20 or 30 grand on something and not get 200 or 300 out of it. If I don't feel comfortable with that, I know as a daughter of someone in that that could be their entire savings just gone. So it's really important to us to make sure that they are doing well. And as much as it's hard for them to get new employees because no one wants to get into, manual labor, it's a dying industry. So they even more need the visibility and the backing of their community and exposure and their marketing persons to really make sure that they are doing well and thriving, because I don't think any of us here would want to unplug and reinstall a toilet had it completely fallen apart. Josh, Francois? No? Okay.
I've done a couple of those. They're actually, the first time I did it, I thought it was going to be more difficult than it was. But yes, I totally understand. I come from restaurant business, so I do know manual labor. I did landscaping in high school. I cleaned gutters on high pitch roofs. So I understand and I get all that. And I value and appreciate those guys immensely. A lot of the people that I serve in the insurance is those that are self-employed. So I can resonate with you totally on that. And one thing, that I think your message is pretty clear on, and I want to highlight, is that, you serve with a high level of ethics and integrity. And that's really what we're about on this show. Myself and Francois and the guests that we have is really serving the client forward and knowing that when you do that, everything else will come into place, right? You don't have to cheat people. You don't have to be crooked or anything. You serve with integrity and ethics, and clients will flow to you in abundance.
Absolutely. So, I love it. How about what's your next to-do list? What about SCORE? Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah. So I recently talked to someone that told me about SCORE, and I will probably butcher what this is because I just had my first interviews. But it is basically a mentorship program that's national for any entrepreneur or someone looking to get into business. So I was excited because, as you can tell, I love to chat. So I could actually reaching out to them to be able to do like workshops and do expert visionaries, like expert strategies for local businesses. I can't take any on as clients who are in this program, but I can give them all of the juicy details I want them to know on where to spend their money, what they need to be doing. Because in my industry, the only thing that's the most shady, honestly, is there's a lot of different companies that'll kind of give you a lower price, but they actually own your website and owned almost everything on your website. So I like to actually share this with people as early on as possible, even if they're brand new, just because it's something that's a good tidbit of information. So when they get to that stage, they can go, there was this tall blonde chick that told me not to do this because I won't own it and I'll spend thousands of dollars and I won't get it back. Okay. And even if that's all they remember, they know a good question to ask any person they talk to make sure they don't have that situation happen to them. So it's really just an exciting thing to just help more people and just really give them all the details I wish, because when I do strategy sessions for clients that come through our website, established businesses, I'm having to tell them all these things because they did it 5 years ago and now they're reaping all the repercussions of it, versus if I could have told them at the beginning, then I might have saved them hundreds, thousands of dollars and a lot of headache and a lot of hair pulling. I know Francois probably pulled a lot of hair out trying to figure out his marketing. So I want to help them not have the same problem.
That's cool. I love it. That's great. Indeed.
Did you pull out any hair, Francois, along the way?
Oh, yes. Yes. And interestingly enough, seeking advice from other people before would have been better. One of the challenge, I'm Canadian champion in Taekwondo, gold medal. The thing is, I did it myself. I had an amazing coach, 9th Dan. I did everything he said, but it was me. And then when I'm in the rink, he's not there, it's me. And so because of that, I came to the entrepreneur place saying, I can do it. And that doesn't work. You lose tons of money doing that. You need to have the coaches and the people around you to help you do it. And it's so paramount. We cannot do it alone. And actually, think about this. If you're so good about what you're doing, which is great, guess what? Other people are good at what they do. And so as you get together, then 1 + 1, like Bob Proctor said, I love it. 1 + 1 = 11. Yep. Not 2, 11. And so let's get
Compound.
together with others. And the more we do, the better it is. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's kind of one of the biggest things I tell anybody when they're even looking into marketing is like, find the experts on that area. For example, your Taekwondo coach did that full time. That was what he was an expert at. So he wasn't maybe also the best real estate agent in the world where he spent more time on that versus learning how to do better and better for his students. Like, because he's honing that in and becoming the best he absolutely can at it, that's when you know this is the coach that I want. So that's kind of the little joke I say is we're specializing in something, which is some people might think that we're not good at a lot of things. And you can think what you may, but we are so honed in on this process. We have it down to an absolute T that I know nobody can touch us on this. Yes, we don't do social media. You can, rake me up and down the coals if you'd like, because I don't do that side, but I know SEO so well. I can make a contracting business change their life in a year because of what we do. So that's kind of where find the experts that do that. Don't find a one-man band that does everything, because that's usually what you are as an entrepreneur. You're a one-man band trying to cover every single thing about your practice, and that's only going to bite you in the butt. Find the experts that are honed in on this, because everything if you get 5 more technical people, they're more expensive. Why? Because they're damn good. And
exactly.
that's why they can charge so much.
Exactly.
Love
So
it.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So you guys, obviously, you said you cater to the blue collar folks out there, and you're specifically narrowed in on doing the SEO side really well, right?
Yes.
Which I feel like is a very underserved space. I feel like everybody's like social, right? And they kind of lose the touch of like the original, right? The SEO, the Google, like that was the foundation of all marketing, pretty much, essentially online anyway, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but
no, you're absolutely on it. And kind of what I tell everybody as well is, depending on what industry you're in, it will completely change. There are some businesses that will be more 100% based social, because that is a demographic that they're going after. What we found is honing in on our type of demographic, the home trades, is again, I'm a homeowner. If the water main, I know how to turn it off, but if it won't stop and it won't fix itself, I'm going to have to call a plumber. I'm going to have to call someone that's licensed to come in and fix this. So I understand where I'm strong and where I'm not. I'm looking for that resource with it. So I'm reactive. So I'm not going to go to Facebook and say, who knows a good plumber? I need them here in 3 hours. Well, you might not get comments within 3 hours.
yeah.
So you're going to have to go to Google, type it in, call the first 2 or 3 people, see what their time frames look like, see when they can get you in, and you go through that process because you need something immediate. So because our clientele was like that as a consumer, that's where we really we honed in and focused even more. So yes, there are plumbing companies out there that do great social media. They may get a lot of leads out of it, but most of our guys, when we tracked everything, did everything consistently, we were able to see, hey, a good chunk of money is going here and not driving the business as much as it should. So maybe we should readjust where this budget is allocated towards something where it's going to drive even more traffic, even more leads, and grow your business further. So that's kind of where you have to try things, but you have to be honest with yourself. If I'm doing podcasting to spread my message and to help as many people as possible with these little tips and tricks as much as I can, well, if I try this and I get no leads out of it, well, I tried it at least, but I'm doing something repetitive and consistently to make sure it's actually going to work. And who doesn't know that after I'm on this podcast, Bob Proctor reaches out and says, Brittany, I need to have you on mine next. What you said was brilliant. You never know the opportunities that could be presented. And that's really what it comes down to when you think you have to do this consistently enough to see if it can kind of go down that avenue.
Absolutely. I love that. And I was going to say, there's no plumbers on Instagram, but I guess there's not, right? Not that you would want to call a one-off Instagram, right? They might not be the guy.
But a good idea, and someone's probably going to steal this, if your Instagram account was just plumber butt cracks, you might actually have a small niche that could really just be viral. You could be on BuzzFeed for that. Let's just be honest. Weird things take off. So be creative. Even that if you're a plumber, stuff like that, it makes people laugh. And that's also what can build a connection. I love humor. I love making jokes. I love hearing jokes. So even that might make me even more laugh to want to call that plumbing company. Because I'm like, you know what? That's so different. That's actually really neat. I'd love to get to know you all because it sounds like you got a good culture and you really take care of your employees and they care also. You never know what things will add up to in the day to make a client go, I choose you. And these are the reasons why.
Yeah. And I think it's about thinking outside the box, right?
And being specific. You see, what you've said, Brittany, is so paramount that many business owners are trying to please everybody and serve everybody. And the more you do that, the more you're into a red ocean. There's gazillion competition. But when you go down to, for example, in your case, reactive services, well, that's your niche, that's you, you're good at this, and therefore you produce results. So that thing, that myth that we think of serving everybody, it's not that. And many marketers are telling us, no, narrow down. She says, yeah, but I'm going to lose some business. No, you're not. You're actually going to gain some momentum and be pointed at as the expert and the go-to person. Very, very powerful advice. Thank you so much for sharing. Cool.
That is awesome. Well, again, we appreciate you being on here, Brittany. I noticed that you mentioned that you guys have a free ebook for marketing tips and stuff. So I'll be sure to share that in the description of the podcast, and we'll be posting the audio version on Anchor, and that gets distributed out to all the different platforms and stuff there. Any closing remarks you want to share?
People to get a hold of you. What's your website?
It is onethingmarketing.net.
Perfect. Onethingmarketing.net. Excellent.
Yep. And actually, if you're in the trades, the ebook's right on the homepage for you. But the link you'll have in this is actually just if you're in any business, it's more general 9 marketing tips. You need to check all of your marketing and see if you're doing all these things correctly. So it's a good, quick read.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, do you have a gold nugget for us this week, Francois?
A gold nugget for us this week. Actually, yes I do. And one of them is as follows. A lot of people talk about setting goals. And says, you set a goal that says, put a date on it. I says, a date. What if it happens? What if it doesn't? Okay. A date on a goal is actually, everybody here learned about the Parkinson law. You know what the Parkinson law is? The Parkinson law, think back when you're in school. It's Monday. The teacher gives you an assignment, says that Friday, there's an assignment due. Monday, you do nothing. Tuesday, you go to movies. Wednesday, you go play volleyball. And Thursday night, you go, what? It's tomorrow? And then you go. And then you succeed, but not as much as you would like to. But it's because that Parkinson law has made it so far away that because of that, you've taken your time. The reason why we set a date on a goal is to actually bring in some guidelines that there's a timeline coming in here. And by doing this, we're harnessing more of our power to make it happen. Do not put, because a goal without a date is a mere wish. When you put a date into it, you're actually putting some boundaries to help you focus your energy. That's the nugget. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do not have your goal card and it's not written down and it's not in front of you and with your dates on it, it's not going to happen. Remember, as Brittany was talking at the beginning, she talks about clarity and painting a picture. If it's clear, you're going to take action. If it's nebulous, you're doing nothing. Setting a date on a goal enables you to be more focused. And that's the nugget for this week.
Awesome. And I want to piggyback off that. I don't have a quote, but I have a little acronym that I wanted to go over, and it's the word success broken down. So the first S, sense of direction, U, understanding, C, courage, next C, compassion, E, esteem, self-confidence, and self-acceptance. And that's broken out to success in those components. And again, as Francois said, you have to have clarity. And remember, folks, we all think in pictures, right? So have a picture and impress it in your mind and view it over and over and over again. Think about it over and over and over again. And that's what's going to allow you to take action. Brittany, you are awesome. We appreciate you. Again, onethingmarketing.net. Check her out on that. And don't forget to check out our live promo tomorrow at 4:30 on identity theft protection. We appreciate all you out there. Thanks again for checking us out. Leave us some comments. Let us know if you like this. It's great. If you caught it on the replay, on the live, we love you all. And until then, make it an awesome day.
Thank you, everybody.